Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host Raghunath and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, and welcome to Tuesday in the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Just Tuesday.
Just Tuesday, just plain old Tuesday. I got no trivia. You guys got any trivia for me?
Not today.
All right. How many chapters in the Bhagavad Gita? First one to get it on the message board wins extra points. How many chapters in the Bhagavad Gita? Who got it?
AJ Sullivan, I think.
18. Mike Conway. That's pretty good. How many days was the Battle of the Mahabharat fought? How many days was the Battle of the Mahabharat fought? Let's see who gets this one. 12. Wrong, Vivi. Come on, I was expecting more from you. Come on, Yvette. Come on, get it up there. Tom Essig, I'm waiting for you. How many days? Oh, I thought they'd get that. 18 days for that one, too. Sorry about that. Any more good numbers?
I didn't come prepared with numbers today.
You didn't come prepared with trivia. Well, come on, Kaustubha. Anyway, I'll think of some more before the show ends. Yeah, it was 18, Nicole. She did that whole learning course at the Bhaktivedanta Manor. She goes and studies for months and months, and she didn't get that one right off the bat. I was expecting a lot from her. Anyway, we are studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9. I'm lost to these verses, Kaustubha.
Well, we're up to text 10 today, or 9. I think 9 today. 9? Is that right, Mary?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, thanks.
But maybe we could go back just a little bit. Why don't we chant the mantra?
Well, let's chant our secret mantras, and then we'll get into it.
Okay.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. All right.
Ready?
If you'd like to go back to what verse, Kaustubha?
Well, let's just maybe just to say 6. Let's read 6, 7, 8.
All right.
But here's text 6. It says, while thus engaged in thinking in the water, Brahma heard twice from nearby 2 syllables joined together. One of the syllables was taken from the 16th and the other from the 21st of the Sparsha alphabets, and both joined together joined together to become the wealth of the renounced order of life. And so the Sanskrit alphabet is divided into two, and Sparsha is one of those categories. And so that if you understand all that, then you understand that ta and pa were the syllables. And when you join them together, you have the word tapa or tapas, which indicates the practice of austerity. And so Brahma heard this message with faith, and he began to practice tapas, and he did it by meditating on mantra. And I just wanted to read a little bit of what Prabhupada writes in the commentary to text 6. He says, taking the path of tapa is the second birth of the desiring disciple. The word upashrinat is very significant. That was one of the words in the verse. It is similar to upanayana, or bringing the disciple closer to the spiritual master for the path of tapa. So Brahmaji was thus initiated by Lord Krishna, and this fact is corroborated by Brahmaji himself in the book.
Brahma Samhita.
Brahma Samhita, that's right. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma has sung in every verse, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord. Thus, Brahma was initiated by the Krishna mantra. Do you know what? Okay, you want trivia?
Yeah,
you
hit me.
Want
Hit me
with your best shot.
Do you know what mantra is being referred to there by the Krishna
Klim
mantra?
Krishnai Govindai Govinda Swaha.
I gotta block that.
Right?
The secret mantra, Baba.
Secret mantra, I know.
Although it is revealed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and other sources, but yeah.
It's the secret mantra. We weren't supposed to reveal that one, but he put me on. I felt like, should I compromise my spiritual integrity, or should I win a trivia game?
I didn't
ask
you to
I'm going for the trivia point.
I just said, do you know which one it is? I didn't ask you to chant it. But
I know, but I would have had to be proved right or wrong.
Okay. So Brahmaji was thus initiated by Lord Krishna, and this fact is corroborated by Brahmaji himself in the Brahma Samhita, etc. Thus Brahma was initiated into the Krishna mantra by Lord Krishna himself, and thus he became a Vaishnava, a Bhakti-yogi or devotee of the Lord, before he was able to construct the huge universe. It is stated in Brahma Samhita that Lord Brahma was initiated into the 18-letter Krishna mantra, which is generally accepted by all the devotees of Lord Krishna. So he was a man with a mission, and in order to prepare his consciousness for that mission, he was initiated into the mantra by Krishna himself. He sat there on that lotus flower, right? He put the time in, he put the austerity in, he put the effort in, and he brought his mind to that mantra, for a very long time, actually, to prepare himself to serve in the way that he was meant to serve. And so it's, Prabhupada later in that commentary says, in the beginning of the first canto, in the first chapter, first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it has already been mentioned that Brahma was initiated by the Lord from within. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adhikaviye. Right? The Lord is within every living entity as a super soul. And he initiated Brahma because Brahma was willing to receive the initiation. The Lord can similarly initiate everyone who is inclined to have it. So there's a lot of I guess Brahma's experience here as that first being in the universe. There's something analogous in it for all of us, right? There's him and his relationship with God, and the service that he needs to do, and his consciousness needing to be prepared for that, and the help he received from Lord Vishnu to achieve that success, as well as his own and this is what we're going to read about today. Through that tapas and through that meditation on the Krishna mantra, he received the vision of Vaikuntha, of the spiritual realm of reality. And so we'll be reading about that today. But what's being kind of presented here is that how did he receive that vision of reality, or that vision of the spiritual realm? He received it through initiation into a Krishna mantra and doing the austerity, practicing the austerity of bringing the mind to it and focusing on it over the course of a long time. That was his path. All right.
Takes a long time.
It can take a long time. Yeah.
Take a long time. All right. Text 7.
Well, okay, let's go ahead and read straight through, and yeah, but in 9 and 10 will be the new ones that we read for today.
Okay. When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching on all sides, but when he was unable to find anyone beside himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly, and give his attention to the execution of penance, as he was instructed. Text 8. Lord Brahma underwent penances for 1,000 years by the calculations of the demigods, and he heard this transcendental vibration from the sky, and he accepted it as divine. Thus he controlled his mind and senses, and the penances he executed were a great lesson for living entities. Thus he is known as the greatest of all ascetics.
I wonder what the term for that is. Greatest of all ascetics.
Greatest
Shinghar.
Tapapod.
Tapatam.
Maha.
Tapasvi. It's a great tapasvi.
Do you have the Sanskrit?
Well, there's a lot of it's being mentioned again. Atapyata smakila loka tapanam tapas tapayams tapatam samhitaha. So I mean, it's somewhere in there. It means he's a great executor of tapas.
Tapas.
Extremely hard penance.
Yeah. The personality of Godhead, being thus very much satisfied with the penance of Lord Brahma, was pleased to manifest his personal abode, Vaikuntha, the supreme planet above all others. This transcendental abode of the Lord is adored by all self-realized persons, freed from all kinds of miseries and fear of illusory existence.
Okay.
By the way, I was thinking about tapas. I was like, yeah, well, we don't even have a culture of tapas, but I guess we do. You know, these people who are doing these free climbing of, that's a type of tapas. When you're going to free climb the face of a cliff, that's a type of tapas. Mm-hmm. You do these incredible austerities. Or these people are really obsessed into fitness. That's a type of tapas. Or these people that do, what's another? These Wim Hof method where you're trying to bathe in freezing cold water. That is a type of tapas. Where are we going with that tapas? Okay, what's the home run here for that tapas? Fitness, health, just to challenge yourself, or to maybe develop some type of just to prove to yourself that you can do it. What do you think of the benefits of mundane tapas, Kaustubha? I mean, those are huge things. To free climb a face of a cliff, that takes a special type of brain, or to do this Wim Hof method where you're actually swimming under ice. I just want to talk about tapas and how when it's not directed towards Krishna.
Yeah, I don't know.
What is it then? What is it directed towards? Is it only your ego, or is it just to challenge? Is it just a way to say, you know what, I'd like to just see what my body can do?
I'd imagine it's different for different people, right? Everybody's got a mind that's programmed a little bit different, but obviously there's going to be some similarities. I'd imagine for some people, there's a sense or feeling of accomplishment, doing something that's difficult. Maybe a sense of accomplishment that sets one, in a certain sense aside from others. There may be I don't know, there just may be a feeling of a certain pleasure in the mind, a certain relief in the mind, and focusing it in a particular way.
Yeah, I wonder if it is. I wonder if it is a lot of, for example, to be an Olympic athlete. That's not like an ordinary athlete. That takes hours and hours of training for years.
Yeah.
Anyway, all this tapas done by yogis, in one sense, is the same way, but we direct it towards Vishnu. So I don't know what. I'm just hearing you talk about this. I'm thinking of modern days, and I'm thinking of, okay, why are they doing it? I guess you're right. It could be very mixed. It could be pure ego, or it could be just pushing themselves because they figure out what else is there to do with this world except get to some type of excellence. But
yeah, excellence, mastery.
Excellence and mastery. Yeah. But here, anyway, the tapas is all designed towards pleasing the Lord.
That's right.
Divine tapas. Okay. Sorry to interrupt with that.
No.
I think it's got to. Okay.
So let's read this text again. Text 9 says the personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu here, being very much satisfied with the penance of Lord Brahma. Now, this is interesting, right? Because Lord Vishnu is not just satisfied by any type of penance, right? Like you're just saying, he's not satisfied by necessarily climbing a mountain or fasting or this, that. And we see within the yoga texts, there's a lot of talk about different types of austerities and different types of yogis that perform austerities, and even that the devas come and they grant them some kind of boons. Read your Amar Chitta Kata comic books, you're going to see that stuff happening all the time, right?
Boon's happening all the time.
Yeah, people doing austerities.
I haven't even heard the word boon until I got into Bhakti. I don't think I've ever said the word boon except Daniel Boone or Boone, North Carolina. Otherwise, I've never said the word boon.
Well, there's all kind of
I
boons
say it every
going
day now. I got a boon.
and so we read about that, and we even read that the devas are, in a sense, it's almost their job to reward someone's austerities, right?
Yeah.
But Krishna is different, right? Krishna is not. It says here that he was pleased by Brahma's tapas here, but it said earlier that because he did it. What did it say yesterday? That he did it with I'm forgetting the term that was used, but that he did it without any kind of ulterior motive. I forget. Maybe someone could share us what it was said yesterday, but he had no separate kind of motive in it. It was purely motivated, right? Motivated with devotion. And so and that's what pleases. Just like when we read in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya. It's when you can offer me a leaf, a flower, food, or water. I'll accept it when it's offered with devotion. Because it's not that he needs the leaf or the flower or the fruit or the water, but what he enjoys, what he's pleased by, is the devotion with which it's offered. And so this tapas, it pleased Krishna. So it says the personality of God, being very much satisfied with the penance of Lord Brahma, was pleased to do what? To manifest his personal abode, Vaikuntha, the supreme planet above all others. So here, literally the word Vaikuntha, literally it means
free of anxiety.
Freedom from anxiety. And so that spiritual realm, the spiritual realm, which is the truest, reality, is called Vaikuntha because there's no anxiety there. Now it goes on, this transcendental abode of the Lord is adored by all self-realized persons, freed from all kinds of miseries and fear of illusory existence. Okay, so Brahma's in a dark world, right? He's confused in a sense, out of touch with his source, searching, wondering. He receives a message, perform tapas and meditate on this mantra, which is in a sense what we're all meant to do. Give your life in service and meditate on this mantra. That's basically our path, right? In his dark and confused world, he focuses on that. And the result, he does it without any kind of ulterior motivation. And the result is that he receives the vision of the form of Krishna or Lord Vishnu, as well as the spiritual realm itself, which is a place free of the darkness, the confusion, the anxiety that he had been in earlier. Okay, and then text 10.
Text 10. In that personal abode of the Lord, the material modes of ignorance and passion do not prevail, nor is there any of their influence in goodness. There is no predominance of the influence of time. So what to speak of the illusory external energy? It cannot enter that region. Without discrimination, both the demigods and the demons worship the Lord as devotees.
Okay. So, yes, so it's really interesting stuff here if we start to pick this apart. It's saying that the realm that Lord Brahma saw, the spiritual realm, it's beginning to define what makes it so special, or what in a sense, what kind of screws up the material world, in a sense, makes the material world difficult for us. And here it says that the modes of ignorance and passion aren't present there, right? There's no that negative influence. We are in the past we've used analogy. Let's return to it now. It seems appropriate. That if this world is like a facsimile, or you could say a virtual reality of, if Vaikuntha would be the reality, and the material world would be the virtual reality, right? It's based off the spiritual realm, but it's artificial. It's made out of a different energy, right? Like there's the real world that we're moving around in, and then there's a virtual world is made up of different energies, made up of like computer codes and electronics and so on. So we're moving through a world that made of different energy, and that energy consists of these modes of material nature. They are downloaded into that platform, right? Two things that are downloaded into that platform here that make that a difficult world to exist in. One is the lower modes, and two is time, right? The influence of time. And this is what the yogis, philosophers, so many philosophers have meditated on time, right? At one point, I remember we read that poem by Edgar Allan Poe. What was that? The Dream Within the Dream. Remember that?
I don't.
I
thought maybe.
At one point
we read
did.
The Raven.
No, we didn't read The Raven.
Nevermore.
We read The Dream Within the Dream.
Okay.
And he talks about how, the sands, the grains of sand are slipping through his hand, and there's nothing he can do. And could he even hang on to just one grain? No, he can't. It's just brutal. Time is just brutal. There's nothing that we could hang on to in this world. So it's saying in the spiritual realm, there is no such influence of time, right? Therefore, it becomes a place that's free of anxiety. We're not losing whatever we have at every moment, and there's no influence of the lower modes, which, the influence of passion and ignorance, they bring misery, So it's a realm that's, those elements, those programs have not been downloaded into that program, right? And so they're free of that. And so let's read a little bit what Prabhupada says here. I kind of took a couple sections from this commentary. He says, in that sky, this is from the commentary to text 10. In that sky, the material qualities, especially the modes of ignorance and passion, are completely absent. The mode of ignorance influences a living entity to the habit of lust and hankering. And this means that in the Vaikuntha lokas, the living entities are free from these two things, right? As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, in the Brahma Bhuta stage of life, one becomes free of hankering and lamentation. You know the shloka? It's Tuesday.
Oh. Shloka Tuesday. Okay. Hold on.
I mean, the hint is right there. Brahma Bhuta.
Oh, Brahma Buddha Prasanatma Nasochati Nakangshit.
No hankering, Nasochati Nakangshita. No hankering or lamentation. Right? In that consciousness, there's no hankering, there's no lamentation. Therefore, the conclusion is that the inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets are all Brahma Bhuta living entities, as distinguished from the mundane creatures, that means us, who are all compact in hankering and lamentation. That's basically what we do, right? As we move through the day. We're either
hanker for things, lament for things.
Lament for things.
First time I ever heard that, I was like, yeah.
They got it. Wrapped down.
Jayadvaita Swami said to me, the living entities are hankering for the future and lamenting for the past.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's all I do, is I'm hoping and lamenting. The good old days.
Yeah.
It really cheats us out of the now.
Out of reality, right? So that's the influence of time, right? Time is, it's programmed into the material realm. Time is making everything shift and change, and our response is either hankering for what may come in the future, what may be different and better in the future,
right?
And our lamentation over what we've lost.
This is like sometimes we won't even feel like, well, I can't even live yet until I get to this, until I get my degree, or until I make this amount of money, or until I get my home, or until I'm married. I can't even think about this, or until, and we live in this world of until, and it just always cheats us out of just like Then there's this, the very present moment.
Hmm.
It's so deceptive.
Even as like a practicing,
This is it, right? This
Well-
is what you got. I think a hip hop guy said that.
maybe
You know what I'm
I
talking
don't know.
about? This
No, I
is
don't.
it. This is the one you got. Who knows that? Put it on the board if you know what I'm talking about. Some hip hop guy said, "This is the one you got." It was when I first time I heard that, I was like, "This guy's a pure devotee."
He
Okay,
understands.
Eminem. Maybe it's Eminem who said that.
Okay. So he's a hip hop guy. So
I don't think it was Eminem. Okay, sorry, but yes, this is it.
yeah. So we're again. Let's go back to this commentary. When one is, it says the inhabitants of Vaikuntha planets are all Brahma Bhuta living entities, as distinguished from the mundane creatures who are all compact and hankering and lamentation. When one is not in the modes of ignorance and passion, one is supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness in the material world. Goodness in the material world also at times becomes contaminated by the touches of the modes of passion and ignorance. In the Vaikuntha Loka, it is unalloyed goodness only. The whole situation there is one of freedom from the illusory manifestation of the external energy. It's a realm where these more painful energies just don't exist, right? They exist for a reason to kind of steer us back on the right path, but there is existence without them. Although illusory energy is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, illusory energy is differentiated from the Lord. Now, this is an interesting paragraph because, okay, let's, someone kind of begins to become thoughtful about their material situation. Maybe they even kind of buy into these kind of topics like we're discussing. Like, I get it. Time is influencing everything. I get it. I'm in a perpetual state of hankering and lamentation. There's got to be a higher state of consciousness. There has to be a higher level of existence. I start to dip into Eastern philosophy. And there I begin to hear talk about how this world that we're living in is illusory, right? Okay, so what does that mean? What does that mean that this is an illusory realm? Prabhupada's going to try to help clarify that, because sometimes the explanations we get, I know for me, they made no sense. This is why Prabhupada's books clicked with me so much. If I tell you, Raghunath, that this world is total illusion, what do you make of it? Like, just off the bat, that statement.
You're saying, what would I make of that if you said that?
Yeah, just like, say without all of your training and everything like that. But
it's an illusion. It's filled with like sort of mishaps and tricks, and I get tricked into doing make the same silly choices again.
Okay, well, then I think you were right on. I mean, when you say something's illusion, you're saying it's not real.
Oh yeah, you could say it's fake. It's like a concoction, a mental concoction. I mean, some philosophies say that this world is a complete. You're just dreaming. How do we know this isn't a dream? This whole thing is a dream. Why are we taking any of it seriously?
Yeah,
That could also be.
Or some presentations of Eastern philosophy are saying that actually, any conception of form or duality is 100% illusion. Like, it does not exist. And what that means is that, like, all of us are sitting in a room right now. The room doesn't exist. All of us are looking at a screen right now. The screen doesn't exist. All of us are individuals with our own individual perception. Our individuality doesn't exist. Now, when I hear that, it goes so completely contrary to all my experience. I'm like, so you're telling me all of my experience is invalid?
I went to when I got into Bhakti, and I did this travel around Europe when I'm on my tour with Youth of Today.
Mm-hmm.
And I was stopping at different Krishna temples around Europe, and I went to Denmark, and I couldn't find a Krishna temple, so I found a Buddhist temple. And I just said, I want to talk to the most evolved Buddhist guy here.
Bring me the most evolved speaker.
Bring me the most evolved. It was something like that. I was like looking for the oldest man. And I said, what do you guys believe? I'm like on a spiritual quest. What do you believe? And he looked at me in the eye and goes, what we believe? Everything is nothing. And I was like, well, what do you mean everything? He goes, you are nothing. I was like, well,
Raghunath, you.
he goes, and I am nothing, and everything here in this temple is nothing. And I
It
was
sounds like
like,
a Seinfeld. It's about nothing.
it was almost like a Seinfeld episode. And I was just saying that. Then my simple question was, then why do you even have to bother explaining this to me? If it's all nothing, why are we even talking about it? Why even become a monk, or why not just become a criminal? What is, if it's all nothing? Who cares? Like, why do you have to become a monk to understand it's nothing? If ultimately there's nothing, and he said, because you do not know, it is nothing. And then my point, then I made
If
this
it's
point
nothing,
again.
why does it care? Why does
I
it
know.
matter?
I said the point again. I go, if it is nothing, then why do we even have to talk about it? Why can't we just do whatever? He goes, because to do whatever is painful. And I said, who cares? Even pain is nothing if it's actually nothing.
I'm with you. Yeah, I found those kind of explanations like I didn't find them satisfying.
The Zen cone thing I didn't like. I want something like I can grip and I can apply. Because if it's all nothing, man, I'm sleeping in.
Okay. So Prabhupada's he's gonna explain an understanding of how this world is illusory, but at the same time real and unreal at the same time. Okay.
Yeah.
He says the whole situation there, speaking about the reality or the spiritual realm, is one of freedom from the illusory manifestation of the external energy. Although illusory energy is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, right? It's one of his energies. It exists. Illusory energy is differentiated from the Lord. The illusory energy is not, however, false, as claimed by the monist philosophers. And then now he's going to refer to an incredibly common classic analogy that's shared in Vedanta. The rope, accepted as a snake, may be an illusion to a particular person, but the rope is a fact, and the snake is also a fact. This is a very profound. I find this to be a very profound sentence, right?
Here's my profound one. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you like this better than the rope and the snake.
I don't know. That's a classic one, Raghunath.
Listen to this one. You're driving in the desert. You see a giant puddle. If you've ever driven in California or Nevada, you see a giant puddle. The puddle appears to be water, but it's not. That doesn't mean it's nothing. It is something. It is heat. It is the sun reflected on the heat, and the heat rising and creating an image. It's not that it's nothing. It's something. It's just not what it appears to be. The mirage is not what it appears to be, but it's something. That's the difference between me talking to the Buddhist guy who's just saying it's all nothing. It isn't nothing. It's something. It's just not what it appears to be.
So why is that better than the rope and the snake? You just had to create a new one, right?
It's good to have different analogies.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah, it's the same thing. But because Prabhupada mentioned the rope and the snake here, let's talk about the rope and the snake. So, the idea is that, and again, it's a very common analogy shared in the study of Vedanta, that I may be walking around and I see a snake. And as soon as I see the snake, I feel fear, right? There's so much, it's such a dangerous snake. But then I realized, I was wrong. It's not a snake, it's a rope. And as soon as I realized that it's not a snake, it's something that appears like a snake, but not truly a snake, I'm freed of all my suffering. I'm freed of all my anxiety, right?
Yeah.
Relatively simple understanding, but it can be applied in profound ways. So what he's calling the monist philosophers here will say that, as soon as you're cleared up of your illusion, of your misunderstanding, you're freed from all anxiety, and fair enough. But what Prabhupada is saying is, but even from your own simple analogy, right? It's not that the rope doesn't exist. The rope does exist. And you know what? The only reason why you're associating that rope with the snake is because the snake does exist, right? And so he's saying that this world, this illusory realm that we're in, just as a rope, it's the illusory meaning of it, applies because there's a real realm, right? Just as if there wasn't a real snake, The rope wouldn't confuse you at all. It's a it's a kind of a facsimile of the snake. And so
Right.
this world, it exists. It does actually exist, but it exists as a reflection of that realm, but with these elements of time and the gunas within it, and the law of karma as well. Okay, so the rope accepted as a snake may be an illusion to a particular person, but the rope is a fact, and the snake is also a fact. The illusion of water. Hey, there you go, Raghunath. There you go.
Say it.
The illusion of
Say it.
water on the hot desert may be illusion for the ignorant animal searching for water in the desert, but the desert and water are actual facts. Nice. Okay. Where'd you get that from? Therefore, the material creation of the Lord may be an illusion to the non-devotee, but to a devotee, and this is really great stuff, but to the devotee, even the material creation of the Lord is a fact as a manifestation of his external energy. But this energy of the Lord is not all, right? The Lord has his internal energy also, right? There's another energy besides this, that this is all based on, which has another creation known to be the Vaikuntha lokas, where there is no ignorance, no passion, no illusion, and no past and present, right? When it says there's no passion, it doesn't mean that people aren't passionate about anything, but it means there's this energy which convinces us that I need more of something. Right. With a poor fund of knowledge, one may be unable to understand the existence of such things as the Vaikuntha atmosphere, but that does not nullify its existence. That spacecraft cannot reach these planets. That spacecraft cannot reach these planets does not mean that there are no such planets, for they're described in the revealed scriptures.
This is a great time to plug our Sunday guest. Actually, this Sunday we have no class because I'm traveling to Pittsburgh. But the next Sunday we have a great devotee scientist who studies aliens, life on other planets.
Was he involved in that book about the aliens?
I think
That was
so.
Sadaputa. I don't know if that was.
I might be giving him extra credit, but he's always one of these guests on what's that show called? I can't remember. Mary, you know the name of that show? It's one of those late night.
No idea what the show is about.
He is on Ancient Aliens a lot too. Coast to Coast, yeah. AJ Sullivan said it. He's on Coast to Coast.
He talks about aliens
and Ancient Aliens,
okay.
and he does this stuff on archaeology. It's just not like pseudoscience stuff. He's a real scientist. Yeah. He's very respected in his field. He just ties it back to Vedic thought and the Vedic paradigm of reality. And I'm excited. If you have a good alien questions or archaeology questions or origin of species questions, I was just staying up late last night listening to all his lectures. If you YouTube search Michael Cremo, he's got some cool stuff up there.
All right. I'm looking forward to that. But that won't be this Sunday.
No, not this Sunday, the following Sunday.
Because you will be traveling this Sunday.
Yeah.
And as well as Friday.
Friday, I'm traveling. Sorry, you guys.
Okay, so no show on Friday. No show
Saturday, we'll have question day, though.
Okay. All right, continuing with Srila Prabhupada's commentary. You ready?
Yeah.
The conclusion may be drawn that because of the complete absence of the mundane qualities of ignorance and passion, there's no question of creation or annihilation, right?
We have to clarify that this for people new to that word. Prabhupada translates rajagun to passion.
Yeah.
So sometimes passion's looked at with good things. I'm passionate about my career. I'm passionate about my family. I'm passionate about my lover. But passion, we mean it's almost like an energetic force of putting myself out there in the world. And with that, these are one of those non-translatables. It's a little hard to translate Rajaguna. Yeah. You're putting yourself out in the world, but there's some pain that's going to come because of it. You're not living in the present. It's a rajasic energy.
I could try to explain it this way. The theory that's being presented here is that by nature, every living being is blissful and satisfied. It's only confusion or illusion that we're discontent, right? So where does that confusion come from? It comes from the influence of this mode, of this energy, that it confuses one. It convinces one that my happiness is dependent on something external, and I don't have it or I don't have enough of it. and I must get it. That is the role that this illusory
Right.
energy plays, right? So when he says passion in this context, that's what he means. Whereas the mode of ignorance is a influence that it creates a type of confusion that leads towards destruction, laziness and destruction. So these two, if there's no passion, where's the need for creation, right? If there's no ignorance, where's the need for destruction?
Yep.
So he says the conclusion may be drawn that because of the complete absence of the mundane qualities of ignorance and passion, there's no question of creation or annihilation. In this world, it's nothing but creation and annihilation. In that realm, there's these creation and annihilation don't exist. All right. In the material world, everything is created and everything is annihilated. And the duration of life between the creation and annihilation is temporary. In the transcendental realm, there's no creation and no destruction. And thus the duration of life is eternally unlimited. In
This
other
is starting to
words,
sound like a hip hop song. The duration and the creation and the.
okay.
You finding that?
Work on it, Robbie. Work on it. Have it ready for us tomorrow, okay? No? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. In other words, everything in the transcendental world is everlasting, full of knowledge and bliss without deterioration. Now that sounds so okay, you got your fantasy and this and that, but it's why not? Why couldn't that be a possibility that these things are foreign, right? That annihilation is foreign, that the hankering and lamentation are foreign to us. They're unnatural to us. Since there is no deterioration, there's no past, present, and future in the estimation of time. It is clearly stated in this verse that the influence of time is conspicuous by its absence. The whole material existence is manifested by actions and reactions of elements which make the influence of time prominent in the matter of past, present, and future, right? That's the world that we live in, right? The whole material existence, our whole world that we're moving through right now, is manifested by actions and reactions. That's the law of karma, right? Of elements which make the influence of time prominent in the matter of past, present, and future. There are no such actions and reactions of cause and effects there. So the cycle of birth, growth, existence, transformations, deterioration, and annihilation, the six material changes, are not existent there, right? But sometimes we say birth, growth, reproduction, maintenance, dwindling or disease, and death, right? He calls these the six material changes.
Ever try to think like which one you're in now? I think I'm in dwindling.
Yeah, we're definitely in dwindling. Okay, so
So you can experience that. We can experience that timelessness by just when we're fully engaged in bhakti. You know, if you're,
yes,
you know, when all day long we have some say service to do, we're at a retreat, we're on a pilgrimage, we're in intense immersion or something. Where like literally there's no downtime except bhakti. It's almost like you've become free from time, and time goes incredibly fast, or you feel like it doesn't exist because there is no more. You know, and sometimes you'll hear a lecture. Raghunath will give a lecture. The lecture will go on 5 hours sometimes.
yep.
And everyone's just like sitting there like it's no big deal, you know, because they're all caught up there. And if you are caught up in your body in the world of time, you'll like be frustrated. You'll look around,
Sure.
right? Just like
Yes.
if you're people in kirtan, they're just sort of like, if you're really into the kirtan, it can just keep going. And you feel like you're not of this world of time.
Well, you know, it's such a great point that you're making, Robin. It sometimes, you know, by the power of, especially the power of kirtan, or the power of the association of the holy place, or a very holy person, when that Vaikuntha energy is manifested in a prominent way here, right? Really, that's what our business is, right? You know, the Bhakti Center has a like a mission statement,
Yeah.
and part of that mission statement is to try to generate that Vaikuntha energy, that Vrindavan energy, right? That spiritual energy, so that people can enter into a realm where they feel that and experience it, you know. And so you're defining that as timelessness, and one can exactly what you're experiencing. I know many of us have felt, and where it's like I don't know if this has been an hour or 10 hours. I don't know if this has been a day or a month. It's like
But in a very uplifting way.
in a
Like you
very
can
uplifting
also
way.
go to
Yeah.
a mall where there's no clocks or a casino where there's no clocks and you can be gambling for hours. But when you get out of that, you feel like, what have I just done with my life?
Yeah.
This is a way that it's timelessness, but you just feel lifted and lifted and lifted. In the
Yeah.
same way we were saying the other day that material desires are always insatiable. But then serving Krishna is also insatiable. But one leaves you completely distraught trying to fulfill those material desires, and one leaves you higher and higher and higher as if you're not of this world any longer. That's the difference
Yeah.
between the timelessness here and the timelessness of, Atlantic City or,
Yeah.
Vegas.
Well, like Prabhupada, at least once, he referred to his guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said he is a Vaikuntha man, right? You've heard that before?
Yeah, Vaikuntha
Right.
man. That's a
He's a
great.
Vaikuntha man. So so this is the way I understand it. And I think this relates to what you're saying. If a Vaikuntha man, it would literally means a person with no anxiety, right? But we could also say, in other words, it's a person that's really aware. If we can, as we move through, you're talking about how we can experience timelessness if we become absorbed in bhakti. And I think that can be done like in the moment, like you were saying, like in terms of at this moment, I'm not experiencing time. But I think also we can understand that, I don't know if in a more philosophical way is the way to describe it, like in terms of our knowledge, let's put it that way, our knowledge and our perception, that because, and this goes back, Harshal Gore asked a question on Saturday about fearlessness, how do we become fearless? And I think a lot of that has to do with this, you could call it Vaikuntha consciousness if you want to, or timeless consciousness, that as I'm moving through the virtual realm where time is fully in effect and there's nothing but creation and destruction, and anxiety tied to that. As I move through this realm, I'm fully aware that this is just one realm, that there's another realm, that there is existence beyond time, that there's an energy, the spiritual energy that is beyond time, and I am of that energy. I am created of that energy. I'm moving through a body that's affected by the energy of time, but I myself am unaffected by time. And so if I have that conviction firmly, then it empowers me to move through this world more in touch with the spiritual, fully engaged in the material realm. Okay, fine. Responsible, you know, um, dutiful, dynamic even. But but my consciousness is rooted in that timelessness. Right.
Prabhu, in all honesty, I think you're a Vaikuntha man. I'm
I
not
think
saying
you
this
really
just to
are.
be no, I'm serious. I think you're a
I'm
Vaikuntha
too.
man. I mean, even today, no, I'm actually serious. You're just being pleasant. I'm
You're a
actually,
Goloka man.
you know
I
why,
mean it.
Prabhu?
Yeah.
Here's why.
Okay.
Today I talked to you this morning. I was like, I'm going through some distress right now, and you're like, everything's going to pass. Everything's going to pass. When you really have it in your mind, and also all the ups and downs the whole world went through, and I was like riding those waves. I felt like you were very, very calm through all of it, and I just feel like by keeping that focus on, listen, the gunas are always changing, karma is always changing. If we are steady in our sadhana, of course, expect storms. Storms are going to come. It's stormy season. Then it's going to get cold, and it's winter season. And then you know what? Springtime comes. Springtime's just around the bend.
Yeah.
And then it gets summer. And guess what? Expect winter again. It's going to come. I skipped over autumn, but the idea is everything is constantly changing. And I'm trying to surf these waves.
Yeah.
And you're just sort of like staying steady. And I think that's an important quality for us to sort of hold on to, that what we're doing here with the Bhagavatam is the essential food for the soul.
Yeah.
And it's a food to find some peace in a world that's going to be topsy-turvy and crazy. And it's the ultimate good we can do for ourselves and thus everybody in our universe. And it's the ultimate thing we can give. It's the ultimate Christmas gift you can give to a friend. It's the ultimate gift you can give to somebody, and you only can give it if you can live it. And this is a huge point, is stay really focused to what our offering is, what our contribution is, what our daily rituals are, how we treat people. With all that's going on in the world, how I treat, it really boils down to how I treat people on a regular basis. And and everything is going to shift, and these are, and everything we're reading in the Bhagavatam is just like little, Batman, he's got no superpowers, but he's got a belt. He's got like a belt that does different things. We're all developing different things on our belt to whip out in times of distress, great loss, pain, broken heart, disaster, good fortune, success, love, birth of a child, death. All these things that are just always getting thrown at us.
Yeah,
We
the
have like
cycles.
these cycles. We have these like little things on our belt, our
Utility
magical
belt.
belt, our utility belt, our skill awards, we call them in Boy Scouts, whatever it is, and to whip them out. So anyway, I'm having an
Well, no, I
appreciation
love
for it.
I love where you went with this, because let's finish this. There's just a little bit left to this commentary, but what you're talking about, really, so much of it comes down to, can I not be shaken and disturbed by the constant changing and cycles, and have the let's say faith and confidence and conviction, and that that allows me to feel content and peaceful, even in a changing world, that facilitates my being very kind to every living being. Because when I'm in illusion, I think I need to compete with these beings because there's limited resources. They're slipping away, and I get into conflict. That Vaikuntha person, there's very limited conflict in their life because they don't feel they need something that you got, because I have it all within. And what Prabhupada is going to do here at the end of this is he's going to almost sum up the formula for Vaikuntha as compared to the material realm. So he says, he talks about those 6 cycles: birth, growth, existence, transformation, deterioration, annihilation. The 6 material changes, they're not existent there. Now listen to this. He says, it is the unalloyed manifestation of the energy of the Lord without illusion, as experienced here in the material world. The whole Vaikuntha existence proclaims that everyone there is a follower of the Lord. The Lord is the chief leader there without any competition for leadership. And the people in general are all followers of the Lord. And I think we can look at that. I know the language makes sense. I don't want to be a follower, Just try to understand this is there's the root of the tree, and then there's all the leaves. There's the tree and the leaves are dependent. There's one tree, and there's many, many leaves. And those leaves, in connection to that tree, they're vibrant, and when they're separate, they dry up. And so that's the Vaikuntha. There's one center, everyone accepts that center. And now Prabhupada is going to back that up by alluding to a Upanishadic verse. He says, it is confirmed in the Vedas, speaking of the Upanishads, therefore, that the Lord is the chief leader and all other living entities are subordinate to him. For only the Lord satisfies all the needs of all living entities. And so that's, the verse, Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman, that amongst all the eternal beings, there's one eternal being. Amongst all the conscious beings, there's one conscious being. The many are dependent on the one. And so in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, everyone's happy and satisfied, being centered around that divine origin. And in this realm, we're all trying to be that center, and we're all in conflict and anxiety. And so if we can enter into that Vaikuntha consciousness that's beyond the fear of the reactions of time, then we can move through this world without that kind of competition that leads to conflict, right? We can still be a dynamic person, a responsible person, but I don't feel the need, the fear that you've got something that I need, and unless I fight with you for it, unless I battle with you for it, unless I compete with you for it, I'm going to be left out. One has that fearlessness, and it's only there, that it's only by trying to generate that we can enter into a realm of real happiness. I was thinking just this morning, because when it comes to the Bhakti Center, I've been involved in over time, in a lot of the I don't know, branding of it or whatever, presentation of it, marketing of it, whatever you want to call it. And I was, sometimes we use the term like this is ancient knowledge that we're presenting, and I kind of like the idea of timeless, that the knowledge is timeless. And really what we're
Better
doing,
than ancient.
Yeah, I like
better
this.
word.
It's really what we're trying to do, whether it's the Bhakti Center, Wisdom of the Sages, or all of us together, just trying to embody and share this wisdom. I think one way to look at it is we're taking something that's timeless and we're trying to help each other understand how to apply it in this time. Right. Take something that's timeless and how do I apply this timeless wisdom in the current time? That's really all that we're trying to do.
Kaustubha, another thing about the whole concept of both fearlessness and beyond time is, and we've been diving into this, within the last months and months,
Yep.
is not only the ups and downs of the world, but these very things like we might die, or people going through challenging life experiences, where they might lose their body. It's almost as if they're not touched by time. As if they're, or like, yeah, that's my body. That's my body, and this is. I'm not of this body. I'm not of this nation. I'm not of this family. Even, I am like sort of another realm, and we're sort of like, it's almost like, literally just taking us right, like hovering above a material realm to the point where there is this aboyam, or this fearlessness that comes with embracing our genuine identity.
Yeah.
We're talking about doing it while in this world, but it's really it's also preparation just to leave the temporary world as well. And again, like, what a gift, free of time, free of fear, free of anxiety.
Love it.
That would be a great time to hit the button, wouldn't it?
All right.
You know what else? Here's a trivia question before I go.
All right.
Krishna was Arjuna's chariot driver. Who's going to get this, Zoomers, on the board? Who was Krishna's chariot driver?
Who's going to get it?
Who's going to get that one?
Krishna Drew?
Krishna Drew's not here, I don't think.
No. The board has gone silent.
The board has gone silent.
No.
No. Not in. No. Daruka there. Parvati got it.
Parvati.
The Pope.
Yeah, it just means the driver, I think.
The Pope. I like that one.
The Pope.
I don't think the Pope drove the chariot. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Every day, we just show up to do this every day. It's just a little bit of medicine. It's hard to understand how a little bit of a good thing can change us, but it can change us. And if there was something significant said that touched your heart, that maybe Kaustubha or myself said, or something that we read, then you write it down on your phone, because that's how people write nowadays. They write on their phone. You take a picture of it, you tag us, and you share it, and we'll re-tag it and send it out there, because sometimes people need to hear a little nugget of wisdom. One of your friends or followers, etc., out there, and you never know what's going to touch a person in that day. If you haven't written a review on Apple Podcasts, you can do that today. That's a great service you can do for the show. Tell us how you came here. Tell us your story. Everybody's got a very unique story on our journey home, and also it's a donation-based podcast. If you like what we're doing, keep this boat floating. Go to patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages. Thanks to everybody. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh this weekend at the Yoga Factory doing 6 hours of the Vedic Path. So if you want to join us there. And then I'm going back into quarantine just when I got out.